And for more analysis, we're joined from Jericho by Dr. Abdel Mekki, the political science professor, and from Ramallah by Mr. Ahmed Shedeed, the Israeli affairs expert. Welcome to In Depth, and I would start with you, Dr. Mekki. Now, Hamas is currently studying the proposal that it received from Egypt and Qatar and has stressed that any future agreement must achieve a permanent ceasefire and a complete withdrawal of occupation forces from the Gaza Strip. So what are you expecting regarding Hamas's response? Do you think that it would be up to the Israeli proposal?
I think, as you know, Hamas, from the beginning, when they started this agreement, and it was the first agreement, the first stage, they have been approved and they have been accepted to go ahead with the release some of the detainees. And according to the first stage of the agreement, they released about 25 detainees. And after that, when Hamas, told the militaries to go to the second stage, Israel refused. And after that, the Israeli, they demand much. And also at the same time, Mr. Witkoff, as he was the American, mediators for the negotiation. He put proposal in order that they will go ahead with this. And Hamas said that they, in the second stage, when Israel refused, Hamas proposed to release one of the American, and 4 bodies died. But after that, the Israeli refused this, and Mr. Witkoff, he also proposed to release 11 of the detainees and also the same of the dead bodies for this. But Hamas refused this and insist to that they will release what they said before, which is one of the American and also the 4 bodies. After that, there is that's the Qatar and Egypt. They try to interfere in this, but Israel in the last month, 18th of last month, they started their attacking against Gaza, and they destroy now much more. They killed about much more 1,000 people, especially from the children and women, and also they start to make siege against Gaza, and they prevent all the assistance aid to enter Gaza, especially the food and the water and the medical equipment, and also all necessary things for the people. So it was even much more bigger in their attacking than before. And now, even yesterday or before yesterday, attacking the Arab hospital in Gaza, they destroy one of the surgery buildings. And until now, in Israeli attacking, and also they're killing average every day about from 30 to 50 persons. Now, according to what's happening after that, Egypt and Qatar try to interfere again, and also they push an American to interfere. So there is one of the proposal from the Egyptian, which was about to release half of these, and it was with the American half of the detainees. The problem is that, and it was a surprise for Hamas, that the proposal which was presented by the Egyptian, and it was with the American and Israeli, it was that they request, which is the first one to request to disarming Hamas, and also that Israeli will continue and they will not set Hamas to stay in Gaza. All of these new things that have been proposed, it was not before on the first agreement. So it was a new demands from the Israeli. They presented to the Egyptian. And because of this, I think Hamas said that it refused. It was the great line, and there is a red line that to the request to disarming Hamas, because Hamas said that it is for the resistance, and it is also their weapons against the Israeli, and it is that's the tools or the things that they could use it in order to with Israeli attack Gaza again. So
I get your point.
I think
Yes, I get your
yeah,
point, and
Hamas,
I will get to that, Dr. Mekki, again, I would like to go to Mr. Shedeed now and ask you, sir. Now, Hamas insists that any agreement must include a full Israeli occupation forces withdrawal and a permanent ceasefire. So, how does Israel view these demands, in your own opinion?
Greetings to you and your esteemed audience and your guests. Allow me just for a small comment with the issue of disarming Hamas. It is something funny and awful in the meantime. Benjamin Netanyahu has announced repeatedly that has completely bombardment all the military abilities of Hamas. So what arms is talking about? But talking publicly about surrendering the resistance, but implicitly he wants to criminalize the resistance and deprive the Palestinian people from the right in carrying guns. But he personally announced to destroy the arms. With respect to your question, in fact, the two demands provided by Hamas, they are right. And as I previously talked about it in Al-Qahira News, with respect to the trust that around 70% of the public opinion to execute the deal. But the only one issue remains, which is the trust. So Israel, or rather the captives paper, is the only card in the hands of the Palestinian resistance. The issue of the presence of occupation in Gaza Strip, what the meaning of halting the war if Israel accepts all, while its troops on the Egyptian borders, the internal governorates, Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis, and the rest of the sphere of Gaza Strip. So it is not logic for Hamas to accept to move forward towards a deal without reaching the agreement with Israel and approval, along with the Egyptian and American guarantees with respect to these 2 points: the evacuation of Gaza Strip, the withdrawal of the Israeli occupations from the Gaza Strip, and the full guarantee of not to resume the war and the aggression against Gaza, which there are logical demands. So the conflict, even negotiations, has never talked about the numbers of the captives and how they are, but they think about providing about logic. They only search or look after secure the livelihood for the Palestinian people through the securing the matter you've already issued or said. Any logic would accept to surrender the captives with any guarantees of the resumption of the occupation and the war. So the occupation army announced yesterday that 40% of the Gaza Strip are under the control of the Israeli troops, which means that all the logic that govern that Hamas won't accept this agreement without guaranteeing these previous said demands.
Dr. Mekki, the Israeli proposal stipulates the release of 5 living detainees on the second day, and after the release of the 5 detainees, the Israeli army will redeploy in northern Gaza and Rafah. How do you assess this proposal, especially that it does not include the Israeli forces' withdrawal from the Gaza Strip?
I don't think this proposal, which about 5, because this is not the Israeli proposal. And indeed, the Israeli proposal is that they want to release the half of the detainees, the half of the alive detainees, and also the half of the dead body detainees. So this is what Israeli, and this is also what Netanyahu, as you know from the beginning, the Israeli proposal was less than this. But when after that, when the American interfere and the Egyptian and the Qatar and Israel started their attacking again in last months. So now the Israeli they exaggerated for their that's demands, and they want to release the half of the detainees, and even they propose some, or they demand some of the, or request some of the new, that's demands, like they want to disarming Hamas, they want to even over control Gaza, they occupied 40% of Gaza, and also they, as you know, the corridor of Muraj, which is the new one, the Israeli tank there, and also they establish a new area between Muraj corridor and between also Rafah border. So you know that this is what Israeli is thinking. It's security things, and also they want to force to the Hamas in order they want to surrender and to give up. This is what I think Netanyahu is proposed this because he wants to escape from his internal issues, which is what is now happening inside the Israeli internal issues. Like now, thousands of the army from the reserve, that's army, soldiers, and even from scholars, from academic, they requested, and also some of the new or the previous, that's leaders for Shaq and also for the Navy, they request him to go ahead with releasing the detainees and to go to make agreement with Hamas in order to save the detainees. Especially there is also pressure, there is demonstration, but I think until now Netanyahu is not response to all of these voices. He just responds to the voices of the extreme government, and he wants to apply what he thinks is that to reach to the that's absolute victory, and to Hamas to give up disarming Hamas. And this is, I think, it's something miracle. He didn't want to, he want to make it like something will not go ahead with this, and he want to think that Hamas will refuse. This is what he wants. The refusal will come from Hamas. That he wants, not from himself, and to send to the people of Israel that now Hamas is refused, not me.
Mr. Shedeed, is there real political consensus in Israel around this deal, or is this a move to appease international pressure? And how does the far-right government members view this proposal?
Listened to your question, and I think that Netanyahu's government today is living the anarchy. As Netanyahu wants to do whatever they like, particularly when hardly controlled army by the assignment Zamir as the chief of staff, as well as recruiting guards into the Ministry of Defense. The rest of ministers, the most complexities faced by Netanyahu could be through Smotrich minister, but there are 2 points impose Minister of Finance and the Minister of the War Cabinet to be under the wings of Netanyahu. Firstly, the polls do not go in favor of Smotrich. In case they decided to go into early elections. And the second point, the ideology and doctrines of a Smotrich party, that the West Bank is the core of the Zionism, and Smotrich is having a free hand to destroy, to intensify the settlement, and the arm or the shadow of the army that create hazards against the Palestinians, and he's only executed what they wish according to his own ideology. And the rest of the ministers, that Chas party threatened to leave the government if one of his members was to arrest by refusal the constructions in the army. So another point, Benjamin Netanyahu today is presents Iran as a coexistence threat for Israel, and all the obstacles should be removed, and we should go in line with the American stance and to fulfill the American demands in order to avoid President Trump to turn his back to us. So Netanyahu, along with his ministers, logically, they cannot go out of the subordination of Benjamin Netanyahu. With respect to the protests within the army, never went to the surface of the world that threatened the future of Netanyahu. They have the unit of 802 and the arms of the medicine, thousands of signatories and thousands of the protests are not in the level to take the future of Netanyahu, to keep the elections that only 20 months are for.
Dr. Mekki, on the third day of the agreement negotiations will begin regarding the day after the demilitarization of the Gaza Strip and a permanent ceasefire. Now, according to the proposal, given the issue of disarming Hamas was the point of disagreement in the past round of talks, what are your expectations regarding the fate of this proposal, especially that Hamas described disarming the group as millions of red lines?
Yes, I think what Hamas is saying about this, it's like millions of red line to disarming, that's the weapons of Hamas. Especially, this is the main things that Hamas could use it in order to defeat it against the Israeli. And also, this is that's the main paper that in the hand of Hamas, and also in the same time the detainees. So Hamas now have the main things, or that's what it maybe use it. It is the weapons, and also at the same time the detainees. For the second day, I think the day after, what they are talking about this in Gaza, the day after is if the proposal of the Israeli that the disarming of Hamas will go ahead, and I am that of this, and I don't think so that Hamas will accept this, because it will be like a test for their that they will not be anymore on the Gaza. And especially if they also related to the leaders of Hamas will go out of Gaza. I don't think that it will go ahead with this, and I don't think that Hamas will accept. But for the day after, I think Israeli is now, they are not, that's interested whether the Palestinian will stay there or what, Fatah or Hamas. It's just they want to dominate over Gaza. They want to occupy Gaza, especially there is some of the planning of Smotrich and the other to make settlements there. Even Smotrich is putting his eyes on the West Bank, but also at the same time, they want to, occupy Gaza. They want to make settlements there. So if you're talking about the second, the day after in Gaza, I don't think that even the Egyptian, the Qatar, and the American, they are discussing about, that's what is the day after will be, and how they could also make the day after to be Palestinian, how they could let the PNA, Palestinian National Authority, to come to Gaza. What is the role of Hamas? Hamas said that they are not interested in going back to be in political issues in Gaza. They said that they will leave the political issues, and they just want to all the assistance or the aids to enter Gaza, especially for the food and the water for the civilian. So this is the things that the day after in Gaza, it was before, when they are talking in the first agreement, it was before 3-4 months about to be Palestinian, how the Palestinian could, that's discuss this, and the Egyptian was supporting this, and as the committee of supporting, they want to form this, but there was problem between Fatah and the PNA refused to be as a members of this committee. But after that, that's when the Arab League in Egypt, they have the Arab Summit, they have the Egyptian proposal, and they said that they will be like this committee. So for this matter, I think the Israeli refuse all these proposal, the Arab Summit proposal, the Egyptian paper proposal, all these things. The Israeli now turn to, they don't want the Palestinian to stay in Gaza or any of the party or faction. They want to occupy Gaza again. What we are saying now, what we are saying in Gaza, seeing in Gaza, from attacking, from demolition, from elimination, from destroying, is that the Israeli don't want anybody to stay in Gaza, and they want to go ahead with the proposal of Trump, which is forced displacement,
Yes.
and to try to find a way for how they could force the Palestinian to go out of Gaza, regardless and despite that Egypt refused. So what we will see about
I get your point. I get your point, Professor. Unfortunately, our time is up, but I would like to thank you, Dr. Abdel Nasser Mekki, political science professor. Thank you so much. And Mr. Ahmed Shedeed, Israeli affairs expert. Thank you also for your insights.